up until now, we have only taken a look at sketching on our grid planes. So, for example, if I were to draw a circle over here, notice that that circle is coming in on my grid plane there. However, we will see we can also create sketches on any flat surface. So, for example, if I were to draw a circle on, say, this flat surface here, now we can see that this circle has actually been placed on the top surface of my object there. And I'll just undo a few times here. What's also useful to note is that remember a double tap on a grid plane, such as the top plane here, will jump me to a 2D view on that top plane. In a similar way, if I do a double tap on any existing face, such as maybe this face here, I've now jumped to a 2D view, but my grid is actually on top of that face where I did the double tap. So now, for example, if I'm to draw a circle somewhere about here, and let's jump back to a bit of a 3D view here, notice that circle is being drawn on my top face here. So let's say we want to sketch out the circles to cut away the holes for this bracket. I'll just repeat this process and I'll do a double tap on this surface here. And I can draw a circle maybe somewhere about here. And same idea maybe somewhere about here. Now, of course, I'd probably want to finish off these circles with some dimensions and constraints. So, for example, I can select this circle here, and I'd like that to be concentric with this edge here, so I can throw in a concentric, and same idea for all three circles here, concentric and concentric. And then I'll throw in a dimension for my circle. Let's say I want this to be 7mm radius, and then I can tap to select all three circles and set them all to be equal. So now that I've finished off these simple circular sketches here, again, same idea as extruding. I can tap to select each of these circles here, and by just pulling on the arrows upward, we can see, as expected, this will extrude or add more material. But now if I went in the other direction, we can see it starts to remove material from my existing object. And of course, I can specify an exact dimension for the depth of my cut here. In this case, if I want to cut all the way through my object, I could set the dimension to be exactly 20mm if I'd like. Or if I just make sure I'm going further than 20mm in this case, or all the way through my body, I should see that that will cut all the way through my body. Now also notice I have a dimension I can change here, and I also have a little icon by that dimension. I can tap on that there, and notice this gives me a couple of different extrusion options. It looks like Shapr3D has correctly chosen to use the subtract option to subtract the material from my design. However, I have a couple of other Boolean options that I can use here as well. So I could have used instead maybe new body, and now I can see that instead of subtracting that material, it has actually created a new body from that extrusion. Again, just tap on the icon again if I'd like to change. I can use union, and now this has actually combined those two bodies together. And again, remember, we'll learn more about bodies and folders later on. And finally, I can tap on that icon once more and maybe select intersect. And now I can see that it has found the intersection between this new body and the original body. Now, of course, none of these are what I'd like in this case, so I again am looking for the subtract, so I can tap on that icon once more and go back to my subtract. And this is what I was looking for in this case, as it subtracted that body from the original bodies. And we'll also learn more about these Boolean operations later on as well. Already we're getting pretty close to finishing off our bracket design, and we're going to finish off this design in the next few lessons.